Hello, and welcome to AIM Golf Academy. My name is Lou, and I'm going to be guiding you through about the next 45 minutes or so of our movement practice. Now, this movement practice is designed for those of us who love to play golf, and I'm sure you're one of them as well, because that's why you're here. Now, we're going to explore a bunch of movements today that some might be familiar to you, some might be a little bit new to you, some might be a little bit awkward and challenging to do. We're trying to discover ranges of motion in the body and trying to also separate and do individual isolated body movements, meaning moving just an arm without the other arm moving, or a shoulder or neck or anything else. Isolated movements done independently allows our body to work collectively quite well and quite efficiently, and also not using too much energy as we just individualize the parts that we use. So do your best, have a little bit of water with you, whatever surface you happen to be on. It's probably best if you take your shoes and socks off so that you can get grounded and rooted into the floor space, and we'll go through some of that as well. Okay, and as always, I know a little unusual, but I would like you to clear your nasal passages. So if your nose is a little bit stuffed up, take a moment, take a tissue, blow your nose, make sure the passages are clear, and you can breathe in and out as best as you can today. All right, so we're going to focus our attention at the beginning just on breathing, and particularly specifically breathing through our nose. That is how we're designed to breathe, and that creates a really efficient engagement of the diaphragm all the way tucked under here for us to start to breathe. All right, we're going to get started, and just standing nice and tall, you're going to have your arms by your side. I'm just going to rock my body weight a little bit side to side to get going. And what we're going to do is a series of movements that are called, the acronym is CARS, C-A-R-S, CARS, Controlled Articulating Rotations. So a bunch of really cool movements. Okay, now we're going to be flat-footed, and we're going to come to a still position. You're going to lift your heels up, down, and toes up. So let's cycle through a couple of these with the toes up, heels up, and we try and control that movement as much as you can. Now, when the heels go up, notice if they go apart. Try and keep them together as you rock your weight front to back. Okay, and then we just stay still for a moment. Again, arms by the side, lock the elbows, lift the shoulders all the way up to your earlobes, take a big breath, and then lower the shoulders down. All right, let's go right into nasal breathing now. So close your lips together. And let's just start to inhale. Nice big breath coming in through your nose. Open your mouth and then fully exhale. And we're going to cycle through a few of these breathing patterns. Try and breathe as deeply and fully through your nose as you can. And when you're breathing, we want to keep this whole chest area calm. Think about breathing more deeply into the belly, maybe even down into the pelvic space. To help us do that, I find taking the right hand onto the belly, right around the navel is good. Left hand just tucks to the lower back. And when you breathe in this particular position, again, you're just trying to imagine in your mind's eye that the breath is really deep. And as the lungs really expand, the breath is coming low and deep. And this engages our diaphragm, which is really how we're designed to breathe in order for us to fill the lungs up completely. That diaphragm, the diaphragm muscle contracts as it lowers, and then when it relaxes, it starts to go back up again to push all the air out. So that's what we're trying to do here. Again, breathe in and out, keep the shoulders calm and that whole chest area calm, especially if you're noticing this type of movement when you're breathing. We want to keep all this neck space and shoulder space really calm and work those muscles that are designed for us to breathe, which is more the diaphragm and the intercostal rib muscles. Okay. So we're going to stay here a little bit and breathe, and let's even take the hands to the side. And in this position, what we're trying to do is breathe out to the side. So if you look at my torso shape, it's pretty straight here. Imagine I'm trying to turn it. So if this is more of a shape like a can, I'm trying to turn it into more of a drum-like shape, if you will, when I take that breath. Now, does it really happen? Well, not really, but we're just trying to create in our mind's eye that type of movement. So we're breathing in deeply, and this is how we control our stress level and our state of being, really. The breath is how we control all of that. So again, hands either front to back or hands at your side, and breathe in and out. Now you're going to try and stay with that breathing for the entire length of time that we're here. and even practice it on your own. I'm going to take the arms down to the side. We're going to start at the very, very top with some head movement, which really gets into our neck. And then we're going to move into the shoulders and spine and all the way down. So full body movement today. So to start off with, turn your head to the left side. Keep going as far as you can go. So the left side here is the closed side. The open side is the right side. And that's where I want to bring some length to this tissue on the right side. And then come through center, turn your head to the other side. And while we're doing these movements, we're still paying attention to that deep breathing. So again, take the head over to the right, look past the shoulder, come back to center position. Now you're going to lift your head all the way up, look up at your ceiling. Keep on breathing. And as you look up, you're just going to drop the head a little bit side to side. So the ear drops to the shoulder, goes to the left, and then goes to the right. Do this slowly so you get full range of motion. So once you feel like you can't go anymore, make sure the shoulders stay down, engage that muscle tissue, and then contract, go a little bit deeper. And again, to the left. You may even find that one side is a bit more forgiving than the other as well. Okay, back to center. Now you're going to look down to the floor, tuck the chin right into your chest, and again, rock your head from side to side as you look down to the floor. Going to the other side, and again to the other side. All right, and then we go back to center position. Now turn your head all the way to the left side, again, as far as you can go. Drop the left ear to the left shoulder as you peek up at the ceiling. So I'm gazing up at the ceiling, going all the way around in a big circle. I'm going to do a head circle, probably 3 of them all the way around. So I'm going to do this 3 times. And I'm trying to really exaggerate the circle to kick into as big a range of motion as I possibly can. And then I go back through center, and this time turn the head to the right side. So the head goes to the right, dropping ear to shoulder, and we peek up and look all the way around to the other side. We'll do this 3 times in this direction. And we want as much range of motion in this particular position as we possibly can. Okay, and one more, and then back to center position. All right, let's stretch this out even a little bit more. And if you want to just take a quick second to realize the benefit of just even this particular movement, if you think about the position that your body is in when you're getting ready to hit the ball and you're getting into striking position, as soon as you start to swing back, your head needs to look down. So that means your whole chest and torso need to turn, and you need to have that flexibility in your neck to continue to look down. And if you don't, you're going to start to look up, and it's going to tip your body in one direction or another, causing you to potentially come out of your swing pattern. So this is why we want that great flexibility in the neck muscle. Okay. And many of us, myself included, we carry tension in our neck, and that's what makes it challenging to try and keep all this space really, really loose and supple. Okay, I'm going to tuck the right arm behind me now. So this keeps the right shoulder down. I'm going to turn the head again to the left, hold on to the side of the head with the hand, not too much pressure, but just enough to feel a really decent stretch here. Now start to look up. If 10 is the most, I'm probably, well, I'm under 5 for sure, so probably around a 4. And if it feels good, maybe take it to that 5. And then you start to look down to the floor. Again, a little additional pressure here. Try not to lean forward here. You're standing up straight. This is just the head movement through the neck. Now turn your head so you look through the underarm on the left side. Make sure to keep breathing. Don't forget that part. And then you're going to let the head go. Bring your head back. Just move that around a little bit. Let's tuck the left arm back. Turn your head to the right and hold on to the left side of the head. And I'm going to drop the right ear to the shoulder. Slight tension here, just as if we were getting ready to do a head circle. But instead, I'm going to turn my head up and look at the ceiling. This feels really quite good. And I'm going to slowly start to come down. And this particular exercise and movement, you can do as many times as you'd like. So if you're on the computer a lot, particularly through the course of the day and the work you do, you can always take a quick break and just do this for a few moments. All right, now I'm going to look through the underarm on the right side. And release the tension and bring the head back to neutral position. Okay, let's stay with that strong breathing. We're going to take the arms up to about shoulder height, and we're going to move through our fingers now. So we start from the fingers, work all the way up to the shoulders. So let's just move any kind of, let's think about playing the piano here a little bit. Nice, easy movements. Now let's make a fist. Switch from side to side. In, out, fist, 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 fist. You can go a little bit quicker, maybe a little bit slower. All right, and two fists, open, close, open, close, open, close. Try and do this for 5 minutes and see what it feels like 5 minutes. I did this with a teacher once for 5 minutes. It was like pretty challenging to do. Again, open, close, open, close, open, close, open, close, open, close. All right, now we're going to close. I'm going to get just a little bit closer to you, so I'm going to show you the wrist action here. Extension and flexion. Again, slow. Extension up, flexion down. Do one at a time. And notice I'm really trying to just isolate right in this wrist area only without very much of the arm movement. And then I'm going to take the wrists to the side or hands to the side and then in. And try avoiding this. Keep the arms straight. Just work through the wrist. Every single body part here we want to have independently functioning as well as we possibly can. Okay, now we're going to go into a bit more here. And what I'm going to do is just drop the arms for a second, take a quick break. Extend the right arm, and then we're going to flex the hand in this position. Now, this is all I've got if I just try and do this by contracting the forearm tissue right here. But I have more range of motion when I do this. So you can go and just allow yourself to have this little bit of a stretch here. So we're assisting with the other hand, not too much, just enough so you get that good stretch on the extension. And when we flex going inward, again, a little bit more into the range of motion. And then we'll do this again a couple of times, about 15 seconds, 20 seconds roughly. Down one more time. Little assist, feels pretty good. And I'll switch and do the other side. If the arms get heavy, just drop them down and then take a quick little break, shake them up, and then do the other side. So we're going to extension. And this one is already up quite nicely for me. So there's all of a sudden a difference I could see from this side. Looks pretty vertical versus this side. Look at the difference. Wow, that's pretty incredible. So quite the difference for me, and it might be a difference for you as well from one side to the other. Good to know. About 15, 20 seconds, not too much, just enough so it feels pretty good. Nice stretch, and then down. One more up. And one more down. Okay, drop the arms, check the shoulders out a bit. All right, again, isolated movement, so let's give this a try. Right arm up, hold onto your forearm, extend the arm so it's straight, make a fist on the right hand, and then you're going to just try and move through the wrist. I do encourage you to try and strengthen this area. So here, not so much about flexibility. Flexibility is okay, but we want strength. We want to be able to control this. So if you have a light weight, even a bottle of water or a can of food or something like that, you can hold on to it while you do this type of isolated movement. Freestyle it out. If you have a light weight, like 2-3 pounds, you can do that as well. And try and create this strength so you have full control. Again, think about the position when we're in the wrist and the hand really are the very last things that move through the swing. So if you don't have control over this, your entire body can be quite active through the golf swing, even in good form. But when you come down, if this wrist is not in check and in line with the arm, then of course it's going to be the loose or the the weak link, if you will, in the chain. Okay, we'll do the other side. So extend the arm, make a fist, hold on, and again, try to make some circles any which way you can, up and down into extension flexion, a little bit to the side this way, then this way. And this bracing here of the forearm just helps to isolate this movement. Also super good if you did this with weights. The other way to do this is if you were, let me just move here. If you were sitting down, let's say, let me just mimic that. If I was sitting down, I could take the arms like this, hold some weights, and do this type of action as well, side to side, up and down. If you had a bar, even a stick, anything like that in this position that you can work with a bit back and forth is going to be super, super good for your wrists. Okay. All right, so that's the wrist. Let's take the hands together, pull the elbows into your chest, into the rib cage, and let's do some slow circles. Think about maybe a figure 8 shape. So figure 8, nice big circle, circle, circle in this figure 8 position. Keep the palms touching if you can. And then let's go in the other direction. So opposite. I was going, I guess, clockwise. I'm going to go counterclockwise. And I find counterclockwise a little bit more challenging than the other way. Okay, now I'm going to just move the elbows away, do the same thing, but move right into the arms, elbows, and shoulders as well. And think about a figure 8. We're going to go in one direction, see how that feels. It could feel really good, or maybe a little bit clunky, a little rusty maybe. Okay, other side. So I was going counterclockwise. I guess I'm going to go clockwise. So clockwise for me works better. It just seems to be a more rounded, articulating type movement for my arms. This just happens to work pretty well. Again, I'm going to go the other way and try and make it less clunky. And all of these movements require hundreds of muscles, believe it or not, and small connective tissue. Everything is connected in our bodies, and we're trying to so desperately isolate these movements. Okay, good stuff. Now I'm going to just take the elbows up a little bit higher to about shoulder height. Keeping the fingers interlaced, I'm going to try and move into a wave-like action. So can we take our straight bony body with all these arm bones and stuff, and can we create a nice circular wave-like pattern? And there's no right or wrong way to do this, so I do encourage you to go slowly so you can find your range of motion. Okay, and then I'm going to go in the other direction. Same thing applies for me here. The right side, when I go that way, it seems pretty fluid, more fluid, and a little more clunky, if you will, on the left side. Okay. And again, back to neutral position, and let's shake that out. All right, let's move into our shoulders and see how the shoulders feel. We're going to do a couple little drills and movements here just to kind of check out the range of motion of the shoulder. So you're going to lift the right arm up. Try and take the arm all the way behind you with the elbow pressing or pointing up towards the ceiling. The right hand is going to come to the top of the left shoulder. And what you're looking for is, do you feel like you're compensating? Do you have to lean this way? Do you have to lean forward? Do you have to do any additional movements when you're only lifting the arm up, take it behind your head, and try and tap the left shoulder, the head of the left shoulder right there. If your shoulders are really tight, you may find that the arm is pressing you forward. Press your head back, stand up tall. When you're in this position, you're going to try and tuck the left arm behind you and take the left fingertips to the top of the shoulder blade. And if you feel like your body has done all kinds of compensatory like movements to get this happening, then the shoulders are a bit tight and we need to make some work into or do some work in the shoulders to loosen them up. I know for sure the other side for me is much tighter, so I'm going to check that out. So I'm going to tuck the right arm back. This is my shoulder that hurts from arthritis, so I'm very cautious of this right shoulder, so I assist even taking the arm back. Now, there's no way I cannot, you can just see that my hand is right here. I can't lift it up to the back of the shoulder blade where I can on this one, not too badly. This one, no way. It's just not happening. I don't have that range of motion. So this is a prime example of a limitation of movement. So for a certain type of movement, I will not have that range of motion. So when I'm working with Brendan on my golf game, I know this is a limitation because it just is not have that flexibility. So this is what we're looking for, these inconsistencies and changes from one side to the left. All right, so I'm going to tuck again this arm back here to see what it's like. And when this arm goes up and over, it's not too bad. I feel okay here, but on the right shoulder for an internal rotation for me is a bit of a challenge for sure. So this is a problem. This is going to affect my swing as I follow through because I'm going to go more to an internal shoulder rotation after I strike the ball. So that's where my swing is going to have to be really looked at when I go through and follow through just to see what that feels like for me. All right, back into the shoulders again. So this time the arm, let's just lift the right arm up. I want you to take your left hand and bring it onto the top of the chest. This is just a place marker for us to see. Keep the elbow straight here on the right side. So the elbow straight, and you're going to try and lift the arm up to vertical position. And if you feel the rib cage pressing forward or the hips pressing forward, you're going to feel that in that left hand. So you're going to push the chest back down so that you tip forward a little bit and then try and take the arm back by using the strength of the muscles right here. So you reach back, keep your body straight, drop the arm vertical, and then try and take it behind you without leaning forward. So how much range of motion do you have in this position? How far can you go? And then you're going to go up again. How far can you go? And then maybe go a little bit more without extending your spine. So we stand straight, keep that hand right there. Looks great. One more down. And one more up. Take it far back as far as you can go. And then drop the arm. Okay, we're going to do the other side. Let's see what the left side is like. Right hand to the center upper area of the chest. Lock that left elbow. Stand tall, look straight. Let's lift the arm. And try and keep your body really calm and straight. Go back, go back, go back. So I'm definitely a little bit tighter here. Then I go down. And then take the arm back. Back up again. Good stuff. Come back. One more up. And one more down. Okay, and we'll shake that out. Good stuff. Adding a bit more range of motion into the shoulder, take your right hand and just put it onto your back here on the left side. Now you're going to hold on to that right elbow without turning your rib cage. Just pull the elbow back a little bit towards your body, create some space in the shoulder. So this should also feel quite nice in that outer shoulder on the right side. And let that go. Take the left hand, put it on the back of the right shoulder, grab onto the elbow, give that a little bit of a tug, stretch that out. And this is more to the back and the outside of the shoulder for a little bit of a stretch. The shoulders are very complicated and they can do a lot of things, and we're trying to really figure out how best we can do these things and how they feel. Okay, one more time here. Right hand, back of left shoulder, hold on to the elbow, stretch this out, Soften that tissue, breathe deeply. That breathing keeps our nervous system really calm, keeps the tissue calm as we stretch this out. Great. Okay, one more time on the side. Left hand goes over. Hold on to the left elbow this time. And we'll hold here, give this a nice little stretch. Tension level again, under a 5. 4 or 5 is pretty good. And let that go and shake it out. All right, we're going to take the arms to the side this time. You're going to bend the elbows and keep the hands straight. Now, draw your attention to the hands here. You can make a fist or keep the hands straight, but we want to avoid movement of the hands because it's the arms that we want moving, not the hands. Okay, so the movement comes right from the shoulder. Try it with a fist. The tendency here, if you're tight, is that as soon as you do this, the shoulder heads start to creep up the neck up into the earlobes. So you want to keep all of that stuff down and move through the arms as much as you can with as much range of motion as you can. Open, open, open. So in this position, I'm like so, not like so, but like so. Open and then close. Again, the hands stay straight in line with the forearms. And then opposite arm moves in and out. You can do this with weights as well to strengthen your rotator cuff muscle. So this is a great exercise to do with weights or bands if you like to create that resistance. Oh, here we go. So it's like a 45-degree or 90 degrees, I should say, with the elbows bending. Open, 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 and drop and take a quick break. Okay, just a little bit more and arms straight, bend at the elbows. Now I have the arms, or the elbows, I should say, out here. What I'm going to do is bring the right one about 45 degrees forward. So not completely in front, but just about 45 degrees. Keep the left one up, and then you go down, and then you open this way. And full range of motion. Now you can do this with a weight, or a band, or a strap, or something like that, if you want to add some strength to that shoulder. Into the rotator cuff, open and close, and then I'm going to do the other side. So I'm going to open this up again, and I'm going to bring the left one in, and then down, and up, and down, and up. I can hear a little pop in my shoulder when I do that. Yeah. Full range of motion, and release and let it go. Okay, good stuff. Should feel pretty good. Now we're going to move through our spine. So we want to move through our spine, and the best way to do that when we're standing is, now, oh, by the way, there are going to be 3 things that I'm going to bring to your attention, and these are 3 exercise movements to do before you hit the ball. So if you have a long drive to get to the course, and you just get out of the car, do not just go and start to strike a ball. All your tension, or all the muscle tissue, is actually quite tight from sitting. So you want to loosen things up a little bit, even if you have just a few minutes. I'm going to show you 3 things to do. This is one of them. So what you're going to do is you're going to give yourself a little hug, maybe grab onto your shoulder blades behind you, and you can lift the elbows up a little bit higher if that's more comfortable. Now, take the feet about shoulder width apart, so a little bit wider than the hips. And then from here, all I'm going to do is I'm going to tip from side to side. Tip to the right, and then tip to the left. This is one of the body planes that we want to get some movement into. So think about the rib cages on the right side getting closer to the pelvic bone when you go to the side, and then the left rib cage, the bottom, going over to the top of the crest on the pelvis on that side. So just go side to side, and then come through center. Now forward. So I'm essentially sending my hips back, my spine is straight, leaning forward halfway, come back, and then get a bit of a back bend, lean back. So this is a frontal plane movement. Forward, stretch it out, back with a bit of a back bend, and then forward. So whether you're going to play or just going onto the driving range, I do encourage you to move through this spinal series of movements. Okay, back to center. Now what we're going to do is put the side to side and front to back together into a bit more of a circular motion. So I go side, tip, roll, and then move as best as I can in a circular motion. So this is one of my top 3 choices for some slow body movements before you start to strike a ball, especially if you've been sitting in a car for a long period of time. These muscles, when they're warm and loose, will serve you much, much, much better and certainly avoid any injuries and lower back pain when you're playing. Okay, back through center and then just do reverse it, other direction. So you're going to go to the other side and do the circle that way and see what that feels like. Okay, and then back to center position. Okay, good stuff. That's number 1. Number 2 is the pelvic tilt. I'm sure for most of you that have been with Brendan and through some of these movement classes, this is an area we spend a tremendous amount of time on because really the upper body moves right here on the pelvis. And this is really where the entire weight is supported, right here in this pelvic area. So we want to be able to isolate now the pelvis. And we can do this particular pelvic tilt action, whether we're standing. You can do it when you're sitting. You can do it when you're lying on the floor as well, both either on your back or face down as well. Okay, so what we're going to do at first, just to get this started, I'm going to think about this for a second. This is really, I find really quite helpful for those of us that are visual. Think about the pelvis, this whole pelvic bone region space here, as a bowl of water, if you will, bowl of water. If I tilt forward, not the shoulders forward, but the pelvis, just the pelvic area forward, I'm going to dump that water out. When I contract abdominal muscles in the front, the tailbone tucks under a little bit, and that holds or retains the water back. So again, think about dump the water out, pull the water in. Now see if you can do that right here without anything else moving in. To help a little bit, bend your knees, bring your hands onto your lap or onto your knees, arch your back, and then tuck the tailbone under. So what I do is I use my breath, I inhale, arch the back, dump the water out. When I exhale, I pull the water back, straighten out the lower back a little bit, and then release it again. So I'm going to cycle through. I usually do about a couple of minutes of these, so it could be, I don't know, 10, 15, or 20 of them. I just take my time, try and go through full range of motion. And I think about trying to isolate the pelvis as if it literally was a bowl of water with nothing else attached to it. This is really something quite good to try on the floor on your back. Typically, when you're first starting this out, it might be a little bit easier to connect to this movement when you do it on the floor. Eventually, you want to even just have your hands out here and just be able to do the movement without actually resting onto your lap. Just do the movement right here. Okay, and then the last one, and then I just come on up and take a quick little break. Good job, everyone. Have a sip of water if you like. I think I will do that. Okay. Now we're going to go back to the pelvis area. Now, instead of the pelvis, or instead of the legs moving, so if you think about a leg lifting, the leg bone here is moving within the pelvis, right? It's the leg that's moving. Pelvis is not moving. It's the leg that's moving. When the legs are down and you're doing some type of movement, then it's the pelvis that's moving. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to take the feet roughly either hip or shoulder distance, whatever feels good. Turn the toes out slightly, arms by your side. Make fists, and then you're going to rock your weight side to side. And I'm not tipping the upper body. I'm really trying to keep my shoulders right on top of the hips to balance the weight, if you will, of the upper body. And then I rock with control, trying to actually turn right off the bottoms of the feet with control. Keep the shoulders on top of your hips as best as you can. All the range of motion is here. This is a slide and a shift. Think about a slide, shift, slide, shift. Try and really press those feet into the floor. Now go as far as you can go onto one side. Push the right hip. This is my right hip that's moving out. I'm going to just push the hip without the lean. So I'm going to stay right on top of it. Press, 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 press. Try and get this range of motion as much as you can. Then relax it. Come back to center. Balance it out. Start to go to the other side and see how far you can go on the other side. And this is another part where we want to just do some observation. Is the left any different than the right? Switch it up again. Go back to the right. Go back to the left. Very simple movement, but extremely functional for what we're trying to do here. We want to be able to shift and slide a lot with control. And other side. Left with control. Great job. Okay. Back to center. Now I'm going to turn that into a circle. I can lean forward a little bit if you like, just to exaggerate that circle. That's totally cool. So nice big circle here. And then other direction. And then let's just go back to center position. Okay. Bring your feet a little closer together. Lift up your right heel. So we're essentially on the balls of the feet here. We're lifting up, lift the heel high. Externally rotate your leg. So you're squeezing the bum muscles in the back here, the glutes, to externally rotate. Then squeeze in the center to internally rotate. Again, try to create this movement just using muscle strength here. Externally rotate. Internally rotate. Externally rotate. Internally rotate. Okay, one more. External, external, external. Again, think about opening up like a big book. Open, open, open. And let it go. And do the other side. Lift the left heel. Externally rotate. I've already noticed I'm tight here as I start to open. So I'm opening, opening, and then I close. Internally rotate. Think about squeezing your thighs together here. And then you're going to externally rotate. External, external, external. Internal. And I continue, even though my leg has stopped, I continue this movement. So I continue to roll it in there. And then external, good stuff. Really good. One more internal. One more external. And shake that out and let it go. Okay, now we're going to move into number 3. The number 3 movement that I suggest that you do just before you're going to play around or before you go and start to hit the ball. Now, remember the first one. The first one was a hug and a roll, right? You're rolling in both directions. Not fast. Do it slow. Take your time. Like go 1 minute one side, the other minute the other side. Number 2 is the pelvic tilt. You do the pelvic tilt. Do that for about a minute or 2 just to get that whole space all warmed up. And then you're going to come down onto the ground wherever you are. I mean, right now we're here, but when you're out there, you're going to go onto the grass. Get the legs in a 90-90 leg position. So we bend the legs to 90 degrees. Sit up as high as you can. Turn the chest to face forward, and then flex your feet. So you're not pointing your toes, you're flexing your feet. The feet are very active here. I'm sitting up as tall as I can, and then I'm just going to try and hinge forward and stretch out the left lower back space, the outside of the left leg. So come forward. You can take your hands forward if you like. Come forward any amount here just to bring the chest forward. That's a great position. You can also reach the right arm forward, try and bring the chest down. And I am trying to keep my spine fairly straight, so I'm not just slouching or rolling. I'm fairly straight here, trying to really stretch out the lower back and the outside of the left leg. Again, this is good for about a minute, maybe 90 seconds. Get a really nice stretch. And after you're in the stretch for about 60 seconds, it'll start to release a bit, and you can actually go a little bit deeper in most cases. And if not, that's okay too. You just try it and try and do the best you can in this movement. So after about 60 seconds or so, we lift the chest up. You can take your hands behind you and just take the feet up and over to the other side. This is a great position because we just jump right into 90-90 on the other side. So I'm less tight on this side. I can even feel myself being able to sit up more tall in this particular position. I flex my feet, turn the ribs to face the front, and then here I can actually quite easily move forward, whereas the other side is a little bit clunkier. And when you start to lean forward, keep turning your rib cage over to the right side here so you balance out, and then lower the ribs down, chest down towards the leg, and you get a nice stretch on this side. Again, this is one of those areas that's going to help with the those tight muscles that are active and contracted when we're sitting. This stretches it out quite nicely. I can already feel it. Feels really good. And you come back up into a neutral position, extend your legs straight, and then tip your body forward. So I'm going to turn to the side so you can see all I'm doing is legs straight, spine straight, and I'm just going to hinge forward at that hip crease, hands resting onto the shins here, look straight ahead, try and bring your chest down. Now, if you want to bend the knees a little bit, that's also totally fine. Try and just take the ribs a little bit further forward. So if you feel like the back of the legs are tight, just bend your knees. Look straight ahead, avoid looking down, so we keep the spine straight by looking straight, maybe even up a bit, and then try and get a little bit further ahead. You can also sit on the block sometimes. That'll tip your pelvis forward and allow the lower back to stretch out. Over 80% of people play with lower back pain. It's because the back muscles are so tight and we don't take the time to actively and sort of thoughtfully stretch them out so they stay tight, and then we try and take them through these great ranges of motion at really high speed. And it's kind of a recipe for low back pain. So I do encourage you to take some time, stretch out, especially those exercises where you find you're more tight. So if you're more tight in the back, take the time to do it. If you're more tight in the legs, then you take the time to stretch it out there. Okay, and then you slowly come on up. That is your movement session and movement practice for today. I want to thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed these various movements that we did today. I do encourage you to do them, especially those three that I pointed out to you. You can always come back and circle back to our recorded classes if you want to repeat and give them a try again. Thanks, everyone, and I'll see you next time in our movement practice.